Hello and welcome into The Catch at Las Vegas Ballpark. I'm Matt Neverett. Today on The Catch, we're going to be taking a look around the world of baseball during our current world times. We're going to be taking a look at the Aviators past and present, as well as how our beautiful space here at Las Vegas Ballpark is being used during the pandemic. Today, we're coming at you from our beautiful home clubhouse, which is not only a premier area for our players and coaches to get ready, it's also a premier area for you, yes you, to get in on a corporate event at over 7,000 square feet. The possibilities are endless here in our home clubhouse. Visit the lvballpark.com for information on how to book an event, and also on tour dates. We'll be giving you a tour of our lower level, field level facilities here at the Las Vegas Ballpark, and plenty more here on The Catch at Las Vegas Ballpark. You won't want to miss it. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back into The Catch at Las Vegas Ballpark. Matt Neverett coming at you from our luxurious home clubhouse here at the Las Vegas Ballpark. It is the crown jewel of our field-level amenities. Mentioned earlier, it's over 7,000 square feet in space, 36 lockers, each decked out to the max. As well as our visiting clubhouse, there's also a home and visiting batting cage, as well as the humidor, which is used to keep the balls more moist than the air, try to keep the home run balls in the yard. Maybe not doing its job to perfection last year as Aviators batters blasted 250 home run balls in the first year here at the Las Vegas Ballpark. And last but certainly not least is our weight room, which is shared between both clubs but at different times. Former 51 Ty Kelly said about the Cashman Field weight room that it wasn't a weight room at all, just a room. That's not the case here. But this is one of the many amenities that you'll be able to check out here on our tours at the Las Vegas Ballpark. Visit the lvballpark.com for information on tour dates. We do them every Friday. You won't want to miss it. You got these names above me. We'll be taking a look at some Aviators that have been in this locker room, past and present, just starting to crack the big leagues when we return here on The Catch at Las Vegas Ballpark.
What the Aviators have done is they've given a reason for Las Vegas to love their baseball team again. From the groundbreaking on, literally it couldn't be done. It was just the timeline to get a state-of-the-art stadium built was impossible. To get the team organized, ready to go, to even get out here and play, nobody really knew if we could do this. And the fact that not only we did it, but it was done at such a high professional, high quality level.
Thanks for joining us here on The Catch at Las Vegas Ballpark. These two names behind me, Daniel Megden, Seth Brown, and Jesus Luzardo, are all in the major leagues this season with the Oakland Athletics, and they were all here at the Las Vegas Ballpark with the Aviators in 2019. With that in mind, we wanted to take a look at a couple more 2019 Aviators who made their major league debuts this season, as well as a couple of former 51s enjoying some success at the major league level. Mark Payton, a 2019 Aviator who batted .334 in almost 118 games last year, made his major league debut with the Cincinnati Reds last week as a pinch hitter, as well as Jorge Mateo, who made his big league debut with the San Diego Padres last week. Mateo, a former top prospect of the Aviators, batted .289 in a full season with Las Vegas last year. And Mateo, a infielder who is very versatile, plays the outfield as well, has played in 4 big league games thus far. He's played 3 different positions. So congrats to Jorge Mateo and Mark Payton for both making their major league debuts this year. Taking a look at a couple of former 51s in the big leagues, Dom Smith, the first baseman / DH of the New York Mets, the former 51, having himself the breakout year that a lot of people expected from the big-time slugger, batting over .320 just about halfway through the 2020 Major League campaign. And last but certainly not least, Wilmer Flores of the San Francisco Giants, the former 51, doing what he does best, and that is put the ball in play, hitting the ball at a great clip this year, hitting over .300 again about halfway through the Major League season. Coming up here on The Catch at Las Vegas Ballpark, we got a special guest interview with ties to the Stars, the 51s and the Aviators, as well as the Los Angeles Dodgers at the big league level. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss it. back into the catch here at Las Vegas Ballpark. Matt Neverett joined by a very special guest. It's my father, Tim Neverett, current play-by-play broadcaster for the Los Angeles Dodgers and a former broadcaster for both the Stars and the 51s. You've got kind of a unique perspective because you got here to Las Vegas in the early 90s with the Las Vegas Stars. You saw Cashman Field for a long, long time, and now you're here at the Las Vegas Ballpark. What was your first impression when you first stepped foot here at the Las Vegas Ballpark?
Well, it was last year. I had a couple of off days, and I drove over to Vegas and came. In fact, Oklahoma City was in, the Dodgers affiliate, and I came and watched the game with Don Logan that night, and it was fabulous. I couldn't believe it. When Jim Gemma gave me the tour, when I got there in the afternoon, I was just stunned at how beautiful this place is. I will tell you that this ballpark has better features than a few of the major league ballparks currently.
Just a few?
A few, yes. I mean, I you know, as far as facilities go, because that was, I think, a reason that, when the Dodgers were affiliated with Las Vegas, I think one of the main reasons they left was because of Cashman Field and the fact that they just didn't have the facilities that a major league club requires of their development staff. Now here, they have more than enough. They even have a humidor here, which is great. Wasn't operational for a little bit last year, and the balls reflected that, I think, early in the season when they were flying out of the park. But at the same time, it's got that feature. It's got great hitting cages. It's the clubhouse that we're in is better. This clubhouse right here is better than many major league clubhouses. And I've been in almost every single one, except for the new ones in Texas where the Rangers play. I haven't been to that ballpark yet, but every other one I've been, and even a couple parks that have been torn down. So I can tell you that this clubhouse right here is as good, if not better, than most major league clubhouses.
You'd be hard-pressed to find somebody with a better perspective on what a baseball clubhouse looks like and what the good ones versus the bad ones look like. So for you to say that, that's really saying something. We'll say aside from the clubhouse, what's your favorite feature here at the ballpark?
Oh, I tell you what, I like the luxury suites.
Go figure, right?
You know, at Cashman Field, they had the one luxury section, just the club level section.
Those were my memories of going to those games.
When you were this big.
Hanging out at that level,
You and your brothers Kyle and Drew would be running around. But, the broadcast booths were small, and they were next to each other, separated by glass. The press box here is so much more up to date. The broadcast booths are very comfortable here. The view is incredible.
Can't beat it.
No, you can't beat it. I love the mesh seats. I'd never seen them before until I've been here. Most stadiums I go to, they have the plastic seats. Those mesh seats in this environment where you're going to sit down, it's going to be 100 degrees. It's just perfect. I mean, I think they did everything right here. The pool is obviously a great feature. Love that. And the team store. The team store at Cashman Field was tiny. And I remember Lori Wanzer, who ran the team store when I was there. I mean, she just didn't have any room. And but here, there's tons of room. It's like a department store in there. If you're going to come to a sporting event, this is the place to come enjoy yourself. You're going to see high-level baseball. You're going to see people that you have heard of if you follow baseball. And you're going to enjoy yourself and be comfortable at the same time. Plus, if you have a company or you want to take care of your employees or you have an event that you want to have here or just get a group of friends or family together, you can have one of the luxury suites and book those in advance and enjoy the game that way. When I watched the game last year in the luxury suite and got to sample the food and all the other amenities that are up there, I'm just like, there's nothing minor league about this. The club level section where the bar is, there's nothing minor league about this stadium at all.
I'm surprised it took you that long to bring up the food.
Usually that's one of the first things you look at. But it's very good here, and they've done a great job. I've even had a tour of the kitchen here, and it is as functional as you can be for a place this size that can do, not just functions during the baseball season, but other kinds of functions. I'm sure that there are companies that are waiting in line, and if not, they should be, to host their company Christmas parties here. Things like that. Different corporate events. You can have corporate meetings here, especially right now since there's not going to be any baseball season. And at the end of August, the minor league season would end typically anyway. So through the winter months, this can be used for some kind of an executive function. If you're bringing in people from out of town as an event planner, this is a venue you have to consider. And it's just not for playing baseball, although so watching the games and the sight lines I've seen, really tremendous.
I think we booked the wrong Neverett for this show. The LVBallpark.com for more information on any of those things that he just brought up, by the way, for your tours, your events, your company Christmas party. That's going to be the hot one this year. Anyway, the elephant in the room this season here at the Las Vegas Ballpark, no minor league baseball, no Aviators baseball this season. You're fortunate enough at the major league level to be seeing, albeit a shortened, but a season nonetheless. What's been some of the big changes? We'll get into the specifics as far as the COVID testing and some of the protocols, but what has been some of the biggest changes aside from obviously the number of games for you?
Yeah, well, the number of games was shrunk from 162 down to 60, and because we have a rotation that we use in Los Angeles for the Dodger broadcasts, my number got cut way down. So I'm just doing some things on pre- and post-game radio. We'll do some games on radio. I'll do some games on television. And some different other assignments. But that, as it gives me an opportunity to come over here for a day or two and visit with you and your brother. But in the meantime, the biggest changes, I think, are Zoom. Okay? Everybody in baseball now knows what Zoom is. If you didn't know what it was before the quarantine, you now know.
Everybody around the world, really,
no,
yeah.
Every single day, we use Zoom. We use Zoom for our pregame player interview. We use Zoom for our pregame manager's press conference. We use Zoom the day of a new series. We have a private call, just the broadcasters and our manager, Dave Roberts. We use Zoom postgame for multiple player interviews, including the starting pitcher and then the manager's comments after the game. They have put everybody in tiers. So players and staff are in Tier 1 and Tier 2. Only Tier 1 and Tier 2 people are allowed to get on the plane to travel. Radio, television broadcasters are in Tier 3, which means at Dodger Stadium we are confined to the 5th floor of Dodger Stadium. We can't move.
That's it,
That's
floor.
it. We cannot go to the clubhouse. We cannot go on the field. We cannot go in the dugout. We do not have personal access to any players, coaches, staff members. So we have to do everything remotely. I was visiting with our first base coach, George Lombard, the other day via Zoom when I was doing pregame on television. And I had not talked to him since spring training, the original one.
And normally that's
February in Arizona.
Normally that's someone that you'll see and talk to every day.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I talked to Mookie Betts doing the walk-off interview after they had beaten the Rockies last Sunday, and he was in the dugout with a headset on. That's the only one we don't do via Zoom, and it's an exclusive for television. So he had the headset on in the dugout. I had the microphone in one of the luxury suites that's been converted into the an off-camera, on-camera TV reporter's booth.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah. So that's where that position works. When I'm on TV, of course, Joe Davis does most of the games. He'll work with Oral Hershiser, who lives around the corner from this ballpark, by the way, and loves this place. They're in the regular television booth, but they sit socially distanced apart. The regular radio booth is too tight, so they've moved us to luxury booth number 215. So most nights I'm in there with Rick Monday and our radio producer, Dwayne McDonald. Dwayne sits back in the booth, in the suite, at a table that he's got, like this set up.
The best seat in the house.
Rick is on the third level of the seats, and I sit on the first level. So when I do radio, I'm sitting on the first level. Rick is 3 rows behind me, and I can't look at him during the game.
What's
completely around.
What's the sight line like on that? Are you right behind the plate? Or you off to the
No,
side?
we're off to the third base side. We're sort of in between the third base dugout and the home plate circle, right about the on-deck circle. So you can't see this and that. The other thing that is different is that we are provided not just with the television feed. So let's say it's a road game. Like my next television game will be against the Giants. It'll be a road game. So I'll be looking out at an empty Dodger Stadium. Okay, and then as the sun sets, no lights are on. It's just a dark Dodger Stadium in front of me.
What
we have
visual.
It is, but we have a screen that sits above my head, and it's broken into 4 quadrants. It's called a multi-view. One has the all-9 view, so we can see the defense and how they're aligned. 2 of them are for the bullpens, one for each bullpen, and the other one shows the scoreboard with everything that's on the scoreboard information-wise, like mound visits remaining, things like that, so we know. Then we have another program feed. So we're watching what the producer and director of the home feed is showing us. So when we did a game from Anaheim, the Angels director didn't show us everything that we're accustomed to because our director with the Dodgers is very, very good. Our producer is really, really good. But we weren't getting bullpen shots. Mike Trout hit a home run, and I saw the ball off the bat. I never saw it again until it hit the green AstroTurf behind the center field wall and bounced up.
And you're relying on them for that.
We're relying on it, so we're at their mercy. So you can't call home runs with as much conviction as you normally would.
You're reacting more so.
You're just like, you're thinking to yourself, that sounded good. But you can't get too excited in case the guy pulls up in front of the warning track and hauls it in. You got to make sure it's gone. So there are sometimes when they'll take an angle, like I saw up in Seattle, they took an angle where you couldn't always tell if a ball was hit to right center or left center. You just have to say, swung on and hit, and then you wait till the guy makes the cut, and you say to left center. You try not to catch yourself, but essentially the majority of what we're watching is the same exact thing people are seeing at home.
Wow. And that's a good perspective, too, because this is the year of the armchair manager.
Yeah.
Because for once you're seeing the exact same thing that a lot of broadcasters and managers are seeing. As far as the specifics with the coronavirus testing, what does that look like? I know it's different. You said the tiers. How does that break down by tier from your knowledge?
What they do with us personally, because we're in Tier 3, then they have a subset. Frequency 1, Frequency 2. So
not only are you 3, you're in the second subset.
I'm in the first one.
Okay, at least you got that.
I'm in Frequency 1 because I have to be at the ballpark almost every day. So I get tested once every 7 to 8 days. I've got another test coming up in a few days. I've been tested 6 times, 6 for 6. That's the way we're going to keep it.
That's a great batting average.
It is, batting 1,000. Hopefully I'm batting 1,000 at the end of the season. The players, staff, people in Tier 1 and Tier 2 get tested every 48 hours.
Wow.
Now, the way that it works with the Dodgers, I think with other teams too, is it's a saliva test. So essentially what they do is we have to register. They send us a link. We register 2 days before our test. We show up at Dodger Stadium. We go to Lot B. But before we get into Dodger Stadium, we have to fill out a questionnaire on an app. Once that's submitted, then you get a QR code sent to you. And when you're at the gate, they now will scan your QR code to make sure you're clear, then take your temperature. If you're too high temperature, then they will not let you in. So once you clear the gate, then you go to Lot B. You tell them your name. They give you your special code number. They give you a plastic bag with your test in it. You go park. You do the test yourself, 20 seconds with a swab in your mouth. Drop it into a vial that has some liquid in it. Put everything back in and drop it in a bucket, and you're on your way. And that's the testing process.
And that's good because when this season first started, there was a lot of concern as to how seriously it was going to be taken. And with a few minor exceptions, it seems that the norm is to be taking it that seriously.
Yeah, and the nice thing is you get your results, I think within 14 hours, they will text you and email you.
Not bad.
If you get a phone call, I'm told, you don't want a phone call. That means you got it. That's the way their system works. So they said, as long as you don't get a phone call, you're good.
Joined here on the catch at Las Vegas Ballpark by Dodgers play-by-play broadcaster Tim Neverett, former Stars and 51s broadcaster, by the way. I want to take a look at some current topics around Major League Baseball. We spent enough time talking about coronavirus and medical tests and stuff. Let's get into the fun stuff. It's been a weird season, as we've been talking about, only 60 games in all. We're just about halfway through. What have been a couple of teams that have surprised you?
Well, I thought the Minnesota Twins would be pretty good. They are good. The Oakland Athletics, the parent club of the Aviators, they're off to a really good start, and I think they're going to give some people fits in the American League. The Dodgers, I think, only play them 3 times, which is good.
Down the stretch,
yeah, which is good.
Good for both sides.
Yeah, good for both sides probably. But I think Oakland, they're always hanging around. They always seem to find a way. A team that I thought would be better would be the Colorado Rockies.
I think a lot of people did.
I did, and when they got off to that 11-3 start, I said, okay, I think I'm right, at least for now. And then they won their last game against Arizona, a real tight game, but they had lost to the Dodgers 3 in a row over the weekend and did not look good doing so. Pitching was not good. The offense wasn't there. They kind of have bad body English, I think, to be honest with you. They walk around like they're just going to work, and that's not how you have to play the game. I also think that the San Diego Padres are a little better than I thought they'd be. Fernando Tatis has been carrying them, and his energy and his results are really, contagious on that ball club. So, and they have to be frustrated because no matter how many games they win, they still find themselves a handful of games behind the Dodgers, who just continue to win. And the Dodgers right now have been absolutely fantastic. And the funny thing about that team is through 30 games, they have not played their best game, not even by a long shot.
They have guys that aren't even hot yet. They have a couple of MVPs who aren't even hot yet.
Well, Mookie Betts is pretty darn good.
He's getting there.
He's going to be a candidate for National League MVP when this is all done. And if he were to win it, right now I would say that he and Tatis might be the leaders in the clubhouse in the National League. But if Mookie Betts were to win it, he'd become just the second player in the history of baseball to win the MVP in both leagues. Frank Robinson was the other. He won it with the Giants and he won it with the Reds. No, that'd be the same league. He won it with the Orioles. I'm sorry. He won it with the Reds and the Orioles, not the Giants.
There.
Yeah. Well, I corrected myself. But anyway, so Mookie's been great. Cody Bellinger has really picked it up lately. And I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys do in the final 30 games. I think the schedule's favorable. I don't necessarily think it's a good playoff format for division-winning teams. I don't think they get rewarded at all because you still have to play a short series. And those are very, very dangerous, and I found that out during my time with the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's just the wild card game.
Every year.
Yeah, 3 years in a row, lost twice to the visiting team.
We could go on another hour and a half about that, and we have in private.
For another day.
Exactly. You mentioned the Dodgers. You mentioned the Athletics. Both teams kind of caught up in some scandals with the Astros. I wanted to ask you it in kind of reference to socially distanced fights on the field. We had Ramon Laureano against the Astros in general. You had Joe Kelly versus Carlos Correa. You have an interesting perspective on that one. What's it been like for you, whether it's been the Dodgers or elsewhere, kind of watching these guys? We could even tie it in with the celebrations. I saw the Braves where they have everybody 5 feet apart kind of waving their arms when they celebrate. What has that been like watching either the fights or the celebrations when they're trying to socially distance those?
Well, funny story. On Sunday, was it Sunday? No, Saturday. Last week, Saturday, when the Dodgers walked off the Rockies. Cody Bellinger, it's a walk-off home run. First of all, he didn't know where he hit it.
Yeah. He came out of the box not knowing
where it was. He didn't know where the ball was. He pulled it to right field, but he's looking out in left center. He's like, where is it? And he had his hands out like this. I don't know where it is. So he got to first base, and they told him, you're okay, home run, go. So he comes around, and as this is happening, this is what the manager, Dave Roberts, told me. He said, he's thinking, oh, great, we won. And the very next thought he had, and he started yelling to the guys, social distancing, social distancing. And they're like, what? He goes, social distancing, don't forget. And they get out to home plate, and they're jumping around, air high fives. Usually when a guy comes in after a walk-off home run, they fake punch him, and they rip his jersey off. They didn't do any of that. Well, they kind of really punch him, but they didn't do any of that. And they just sort of kept their distance.
They like jump and wave their arms and stuff. It's funny to watch.
So that was really awkward and still warranted a lot of conversation the next day. As far as the almost fight with the Astros, that's going to be a hot button topic because there's many people in baseball that were like, well, what do you expect?
Well, the league itself sent a message, and at least initially with both Kelly and Laureano, that they were taking it seriously with the initial suspension. They got all the backlash and then ended up reducing him, but yeah.
Joe Kelly's had a history with the Astros too, and this is something that hasn't been talked about. This is something that people forget. Joe Kelly was with the 2017 Red Sox, who lost in the division series
badly
to the Astros. And I broadcast those games. And then afterward, I reflected back on the game that Chris Sale pitched down there, Game 1, and said there's just no way. I mean, Jose Altuve had 3 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
He and Alex Bregman went back-to-back in the first inning. There's just no way, right?
Remember that one, yeah.
And so we went back and looked at all that stuff. Kelly was in that game. He pitched in that game. Kelly also pitched in Game 3 at Fenway and then was given the positive decision. He actually won that decision coming in relief. But the Red Sox people, they also feel that they were cheated by the Astros. But, Kelly did what he felt he needed to do. He didn't hit him. He threw behind him and got suspended for 8 games. Now, he's appealed it, and then after that, he got it knocked down to 5. He's currently on the IL, unfortunately missing time, and then when he comes back from the IL, he'll have to serve those 5 games. So he's going to miss most of this season as a result.
Hey, at the very least, we have the ultimate picture now on the internet of Joe Kelly. Just the face.
The boo-boo face.
At the very least, that is the positive to come out of it.
That's what he called it. He called it the boo-boo face. Yeah.
I haven't heard a name for it
He
yet.
gets that from his wife. He said his wife makes that face at him, so he used that face at Carlos Correa.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up here, I wanted to ask you a historical figure in baseball. Albert Pujols just passed Alex Rodriguez to become the second leader all-time in RBIs in Major League history. He's been around the game for a while. You've been in the Major League level long enough to have seen him, spoken with him a little bit. How is the career of Albert Pujols going to be looked at, even despite these last couple of years where he hasn't quite been the same Albert Pujols? El Machina, he is still a historical figure in the game and a first-ballot Hall of Famer. What's it been like watching him throughout his career?
Well, you said it. First-ballot Hall of Famer. He's going to have statues. He'll have all the accolades.
He'll get his number retired twice.
He will have his number retired twice. 2 different ball clubs. When he was with the Cardinals, he was in his prime.
Yeah.
And that's when I saw him the most.
Mm-hmm.
When I was with Pittsburgh and in that division, I think he got half of those RBIs that he's now got against the Pirates.
He absolutely smoked
He
the
destroyed
Pirates
him.
back
In fact, I used to call him Superman because there was no kryptonite for him at the time. He hit everything hard. He hit everything in the gaps, out of the ballpark. 2 outs, runners in scoring position. Albert's up. All right, he's going to drive in 2. Just try to score 3 next inning, which is not easy to do. Albert Pujols is one of the best players I've ever seen play. And he's a great person as well, which is something you really like to see. Mm-hmm. Watching him, I just saw him recently again with the Angels, and I'll see him at the end of the season too. He's not what he was.
Well, he's 40 years old.
Yeah, but he can still play Major League Baseball. He can still get around on the fastball. He can still read the speed and spin of a breaking pitch. He still plays good defense at first base. He's not a good base runner. I shouldn't say good base runner. He's just not a fast base runner.
He's not a fast anything.
No, I think he went to
for a swing.
He went to the Molina School of Base Running.
That's the one you don't want to go to.
Just go from here to there safely. That's all you need to know.
90 feet at a time.
Yeah, and that's no disrespect because they're all good players.
Oh, yeah.
But Albert, sensational player. Everything that he gets in terms of his career, he will definitely deserve, and he'll have a speech in the summer in Cooperstown one day.
He's Dodgers play-by-play man, Tim Neverett, former Stars at 51's broadcaster. Even less important that he's my dad. How can the people get in touch with you?
How can they get in touch with me?
Yeah, if you want them to get in touch with you.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at Tim Neverett. That'd be the easiest way. Or I could give you Matt's home phone number, one or the other.
Or either way. Who has home phone numbers anymore?
Well,
Tim Neverett on Twitter, Matt Neverett on Twitter. Yeah. Once again, big thank you for joining us here on The Catch.
Great to be here in this clubhouse. This ballpark's awesome.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The jersey nights are awesome because if they're real, authentic, unbutton-it jerseys, it's great that they're taking care of their fans and doing it for them, just showing respect to them so they can show support back. Being a Las Vegas Aviator fan, it's great because kind of have a family gathering that people can bring their kids to and enjoy a day at the field. It's definitely a magical experience.
Woo! Go Aviators! We're here at the Las Vegas Aviators Stadium getting our free backpacks this evening. Come on down here and join us for that W. Go Aviators!
During these troubling times, the Las Vegas Aviators team store is still open from Wednesday to Saturday, 11 to 4. You can get your full assortment of masks, hats, and customized apparel. Be sure to visit milb.aviatorslv.com for more information. With no Aviators baseball being played here at Las Vegas Ballpark in 2020, that leaves this awesome venue wide open for your public, private, or corporate event. Be sure to visit thelvballpark.com for more information about how to book your event here at our many amenities here at the LV Ballpark. This weekend on the 29th and the 30th, PBR Prep Baseball Report is hosting a showcase for the top 2022 to 2024 prospects. You can follow along on a live stream at PBR's Twitter handle at PBR_Nevada. That'll do it for this episode of The Catch here at Las Vegas Ballpark. I'm Matt Neverett saying thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell on the top right portion of your screen to get a notification whenever we post a new episode of The Catch here at Las Vegas Ballpark. Also, during these trying times, our team store is still open for you to get your Las Vegas Aviators gear. The hours are from 11 to 4, Wednesday through Saturday, on our team store here at the LV Ballpark. Once again, I'm Matt Neverett saying thank you for tuning in here on The Catch at Las Vegas Ballpark.